I am Asher Brooks. I am 28 years old. I never imagined a single envelope could carry the weight of years, could hold so much absence, so much anger, and so much unspoken truth. But here it is, lying on the table in the middle of the living room, the paper smooth, the seal untouched, until now. My mother left it 3 days before her surgery, a single sentence inside for me alone. I never thought it would be opened in front of everyone. And yet, the lawyer's voice cuts through the room. Read it aloud. I can feel every eye on me. My father's stern gaze, rigid and almost accusing. My mother's trembling hands, betraying the calm she's always tried to maintain. Across the room, my siblings shift in quiet anticipation. The envelope is small, almost laughably so, yet its presence is immense. I hesitate. I should have opened it in private, should have read it silently, should have prepared myself. But now the moment is public, unavoidable. I lift the seal slowly, deliberately, feeling as if the paper itself resists my touch. The room holds its collective breath. Even the faint hum of the chandelier seems to pause, the air itself waiting. My fingers shake, my pulse thunders in my ears, my heart threatening to burst out of my chest. And then I break the seal. Inside, one line. Just one line. Simple words, yet they hit harder than a storm. Every muscle in the room tightens. My father's jaw stiffens. My mother closes her eyes, biting her lip. My siblings' faces drain of color. The line is not what I expected. It is not a simple instruction, a trivial note, or a passing message. It is revelation. It is challenge. It is truth. I read it aloud, my voice barely steady. To Asher, I leave what you never knew you needed. The choice to forgive, or to walk away. Silence falls like a hammer. The weight of her words crushes the room. Everyone reacts differently. My father leans back, stunned, as if trying to reconcile years of control with this sudden relinquishment. My mother's fingers clutch at the edge of the table, whispering apologies she never had the chance to voice. And I, standing here with the envelope open in my hands, feel the gravity of a decision I have never faced before. I see shadows flicker across faces. Anger, confusion, hurt. The air is thick, almost visible, pulsing with emotion. The envelope was supposed to be private. My mother never imagined that her final message would become a crucible, exposing all our fractures, all our regrets, all the things we have hidden from each other for years. I glance around. Every eye meets mine, every expectation hangs in the room like a storm cloud ready to break. I hear whispers, restrained murmurs, the lawyer clearing her throat nervously. And in that moment, I realize that nothing will ever be the same. This envelope has shifted everything. Our family, our history, the space between us, it all trembles under the weight of one line. I drop the envelope onto the table. It slides with a soft whisper across the polished wood, and I can feel the tension in the room tighten, knotting around my chest. Every heartbeat screams, the past is here. The present is unbearable. And the future? The future is mine to decide. I feel the paper tremble slightly under my fingers, though the seal has long been broken. One sentence, one single, devastating sentence, and yet it feels as though the room itself has tilted, the gravity of years pressing down on all of us. I cannot stop staring at the words, cannot stop hearing them echo in my head. To Asher, I leave what you never knew you needed, the choice to forgive or to walk away. My father's eyes burn into me. Nathaniel Brooks, 32, always measured, always certain, always the voice of control in this house. And yet now, for the first time in my life, I see hesitation there. His jaw tightens, then relaxes, a twitch of vulnerability flashing across his features. And I realize that this line, the envelope, has done what words, arguments, and years of tension could not. It has cracked the armor he wears so diligently. My mother, Madeline, 30, sits beside him, silent but trembling, her hand pressed lightly to her lips. I know the tremor comes not from fear, but from the weight of responsibility, the fear of what we will do with the choice she has left me. 3 days before her surgery, she entrusted me with this decision, not money, not a house, not a car, but the ability to choose our path forward, to confront the history of absence, anger, and misunderstanding that has shadowed our family. I inhale slowly, trying to steady my shaking hands, trying to steady the storm inside me. Every heartbeat thrums in my ears as I glance around the room. My siblings, my father, my mother, the lawyer, they are all watching me, holding their collective breath. Even the air seems heavy, thick with anticipation, ready to snap at the slightest wrong move. I begin to speak, my voice low, trembling, and yet carrying the weight of truth. This isn't just words. This is everything she's never said, everything she's kept inside. And now it's on me to decide, to forgive, or to walk away. Silence stretches. The kind of silence that presses against your chest, suffocates your thoughts, and refuses to yield. My father's hands clench into fists on the edge of his chair. I see his knuckles whitening. His eyes, once steady, are now flickering with emotion he cannot hide. Anger, fear, grief. I cannot tell. All I know is that I am holding a storm in my hands, and it is about to break. My mother shifts slightly, leaning forward, a whisper escaping her lips. Asher, but the sound is swallowed by the weight in the room. She had imagined a quiet moment for this. I had imagined opening it alone, processing it alone, understanding alone. But life has a way of forcing revelation publicly, of letting secrets crash into everyone at once. I look down at the envelope again. One line, deceptively simple. One line, and yet it carries decades of absence, frustration, and unspoken truths. It demands a reaction, an acknowledgement, a confrontation. I feel the responsibility squeeze my chest, and my mind races through every choice I have ever made, every confrontation I have avoided, every truth I have hidden from my parents, my siblings, myself. The lawyer clears her throat, sharp and deliberate. Mr. Brooks, you may continue. I raise my eyes to meet my father's. Nathaniel's gaze is intense, almost unbearable. I feel the weight of expectation pressing down. And yet I know I cannot falter now. My voice steadies, shaky but determined. I understand what she has given me. And it's not easy. It never will be. Because the choice isn't simple. Forgiveness is not a gesture, it's a path. Walking away, that path changes everything. And tonight, I think, I must choose, not just for myself, but for all of us. My siblings stir slightly. The room shifts, the air vibrates. No one speaks. The silence is a living thing, circling us, testing our courage, daring someone to break it. I can feel every heartbeat, every trapped breath, every suppressed thought. And yet, I also feel something else. A fragile, trembling hope. I glance at the envelope once more. I know that once I speak the choice aloud, nothing will remain the same. My father will see me not as the reckless, impulsive child he often fears, but as someone who bears responsibility, someone willing to confront the pain he and my mother have shielded me from. My mother will see that her gift, her challenge, has not been wasted. The lawyer watches, professional, unmoved, or so she tries. Her pen hovers over the papers before her, ready to document what will be said. But even she cannot conceal the tension, the electric charge in the room, the weight of generations poised to shift on a single line. Take a deep breath. My hands unclench. My voice rises, firmer now. I forgive, but I will not forget. And I will carry the choice with me always. It is mine to bear, and I will bear it. The room reacts instantly. My father's shoulders sag slightly, releasing a tension I did not know he held. My mother exhales, tears sliding down her cheeks, relief and fear mingling in her eyes. My siblings stare, processing, their faces a mixture of confusion, awe, and the dawning understanding of what this envelope represents. And I, Asher Brooks, stand here holding both the past and the future, realizing that a single sentence can unravel the threads of an entire family, yet also begin to weave them anew. The envelope sits quietly on the table, deceptively ordinary, yet charged with unspoken power. It is more than paper. It is a turning point, a revelation, a challenge, and a promise. Tonight, nothing will be the same. The envelope rests on the table, yet it is heavier than any object I have ever touched. I feel its weight in the air, in the way the room bends around it, in the way the past presses against my chest, refusing to be ignored. My parents, my siblings, even the lawyer, sit or stand around me, but their presence feels like distant echoes. The words I read aloud linger in the space, refusing to fade. To Asher, I leave what you never knew you needed, the choice to forgive or to walk away. I can feel Nathaniel's gaze on me. It is not accusatory. It is heavy, measured, deliberate, and yet uncertain. He leans forward, elbows on his knees, fingers tightening and relaxing in a rhythm I can almost hear. I know that inside, he is weighing decades of authority against the simple, undeniable force of my decision. The choice I'd have made, it threatens everything he has tried to control, everything he has built around himself. Madeline hovers near the window, twisting the hem of her sleeve. Her face is pale, eyes sharp yet distant. She watches me, but her thoughts are elsewhere, tangled in memories of unspoken fears, quiet regrets, and the knowledge that her final act, the envelope, has unleashed more than she anticipated. I want to reach for her, to offer a hand, a gesture of solidarity, but I know this is not about touch. This is about witnessing, confronting, and understanding. My siblings whisper softly, small murmurs that thread through the tension like tiny tremors. Their eyes flick between me, my parents, and the envelope. I can sense their thoughts, their private reckonings, their disbelief, even their quiet admiration. They are processing, struggling to reconcile the impulsive, reckless son they have known with the deliberate, measured choice I have just made. Every subtle gesture, shifting hands, tightened shoulders, raised brows, reveals volumes that cannot yet be spoken. Even the lawyer seems caught off guard, pen hovering over paper, eyes darting between faces, capturing the drama without interfering. This is not just a legal formality anymore. It is a reckoning of emotion, history, and fractured trust. The envelope is no longer paper. It is a catalyst, a mirror, a storm contained in thin sheets, and everyone here feels its pull. Cassidy Rose watches from the corner, still, quiet, yet undeniably present. Her gaze is piercing, unsettling, yet grounding. I feel her scrutiny as if it presses on me from all sides, confirming that the choice I have voiced, the act of forgiving, is a turning point not just for me, but for the entire household. Her silence amplifies the room, turning the subtle reactions into waves that crash around me, that crash through me. Nathaniel finally speaks, voice low, deliberate, almost hesitant. Asher, this is unexpected. His hands rest on the table, fingers interlaced, knuckles white. There is tension, yes, but also something else, a fragile acknowledgement, a tentative understanding. He searches my face as if seeking permission, as if needing to see my certainty before he allows himself to relax. Madeline exhales sharply, a mixture of relief and apprehension. She takes a cautious step closer, brushing against the edge of my arm. It's enough," she whispers. Her voice trembles, betraying the complexity of emotions she has kept buried for so long. I nod slightly, feeling the weight of her acknowledgement, the quiet confirmation that this moment, tense, painful, and unavoidably raw, is exactly what she intended. The siblings remain still, absorbing every nuance. I notice subtle shifts. A shoulder relaxing here, a hand unclenching there, a tentative nod. The envelope has done its work. It has forced confrontation, acknowledgement, and understanding, and now, slowly, subtly, we begin to breathe again, not fully, not freely, but with the tentative rhythm of reconciliation. I glance once more at the envelope. Its presence is quiet now, but the impact remains electric. Every heartbeat in the room, every unspoken word, every glance carries the echo of my decision. The choice I have voiced has fractured and reshaped the dynamics of our family. Authority, resentment, fear, love, and hope all mingle in the charged silence. Cassidy's eyes meet mine briefly, a flicker of recognition passing between us. She does not speak, yet her acknowledgement feels like validation. The act of choosing, of confronting history, of bearing the weight of truth, has altered the course of our lives irrevocably. I realize in that instant that the envelope was never just about the words inside. It was about the courage to face what we have avoided, the willingness to shoulder responsibility, and the recognition that the past will always demand acknowledgement before the future can unfold. I feel the room exhale with me, a collective release that is fragile, incomplete, but real. Nathaniel leans back, a subtle shift in posture, signaling tentative acceptance. Madeline's hand remains near mine, steadying, grounding. My siblings, finally, allow themselves to relax. Though the tension in their bodies remains a quiet reminder that forgiveness is never simple, I, Asher Brooks, am left standing in the center of this newly altered landscape. The envelope, the words, the reactions, they have changed everything, yet the process has only begun. The quiet weight of responsibility presses down, the echo of choice reverberates, and I realize that this is not an ending. It is a beginning, a fragile, trembling, uncertain beginning. And in that silence, I understand the paradox. Bearing the weight of truth is terrifying, exhausting, yet undeniably liberating. Every glance, every whispered word, every breath in this room now carries the residue of revelation, the subtle charge of change, and the promise that perhaps something new, something fragile and beautiful, can emerge from the cracks of the past. Her eyes meet mine, and I see a mixture of pride and worry, fear and relief shimmering in the same gaze. I feel her presence anchoring me, a quiet reassurance that I am not alone in carrying this weight. But the room is far from settled. Every small gesture, every glance exchanged between my siblings, holds the tension of unspoken judgments and questions. They are silently weighing my choice, its implications, and what it means for each of us. Nathaniel finally exhales, a long drawn-out sound that carries more than relief. It carries concession, acknowledgement, and perhaps even a hint of regret. He leans forward, elbows on his knees, fingers interlaced, and fixes his eyes on the envelope. "You've changed the rules tonight," he murmurs, more to himself than anyone else. His voice trembles slightly, betraying the mix of anger and admiration he refuses to fully name. I nod, silently aware that the act of forgiving, of speaking my choice aloud, has altered the foundation of our family. My siblings, restless and uncertain, shift their weight subtly, their murmurs small, careful, tentative. I catch fragments of whispered phrases. "He really did it. I can't believe he said that. Does this mean?" Each one a thread, pulling at the fabric of what we thought we knew. Their reactions are subtle but potent, and I feel the energy of suppressed tension threading through the room like electricity. The lawyer, who has remained a measured observer until now, finally clears her throat. Shall we continue with the formalities? Her question is procedural, yet the weight in her tone betrays her awareness that tonight is not about papers or signatures. It is about confrontation, recognition, and the fragile balance of human emotion. I shift slightly, feeling the subtle tremor of anticipation ripple through the room. Nathaniel's gaze is steady now, though sharp, almost challenging. I sense him testing the boundaries of control, wondering if this choice, my act of forgiveness, signals strength, weakness, or something else entirely. Madeline's hand brushes mine again, grounding me, and I draw a slow, deliberate breath. Tonight, I begin, my voice firmer now, resonant in the charged silence. We face what has been avoided for too long. Secrets, absences, misunderstandings, they have shaped us, defined us, and sometimes confined us. But we have a chance, right now, to confront them, to see them, and to decide, together, how we move forward. The room shifts imperceptibly. My father straightens, a subtle tightening in his jaw, and yet I sense a willingness, reluctant, cautious, to listen. My mother nods slightly, eyes glistening, and my siblings exchange small, uneasy glances. Cassidy Rose, still observing, allows a quiet smile to flicker across her face, acknowledging the weight of the moment without interfering. Every heartbeat feels amplified. The envelope sits in the center of the table, no longer just a piece of paper, but a symbol, a catalyst, a reminder that our choices ripple far beyond the moment. I feel the tension, palpable and persistent, threading through each person in the room, yet also feel the tentative beginnings of understanding. Nathaniel speaks again, softer this time, a measured acknowledgement rather than a declaration. Asher, you've forced us to see ourselves. All of us. His words hang in the air, fragile and heavy. I nod, understanding the truth in them. Forgiveness is not an erasure. It is recognition. It is confrontation. And it is, perhaps, the only path forward. The evening stretches on, minutes turning into hours in the charged atmosphere. Words are exchanged in whispers, in cautious dialogue, sometimes in silence. Each movement, each gesture, each glance carries weight. And though the room is far from resolved, far from free of tension, I feel the subtle shift, the first tremor of something fragile, something human, something hopeful. I glance at the envelope one last time. Its paper is still, but its impact resonates, echoing in every face, every thought, every memory in the room. Tonight, we have crossed a threshold. The choice has been made, the truth spoken, and the path forward, uncertain, tentative, fragile, is ours to navigate. And I, Asher Brooks, am standing at the center, fully aware that the weight I bear is not mine alone. It belongs to all of us, and how we carry it together will define everything that comes next. I watch my father pace, slow, deliberate steps, each one echoing like a heartbeat I can feel in my chest. Nathaniel has never been a man to show hesitation, yet tonight, every step trembles with unsaid apologies and memories he refuses to name. I notice the slight hitch in his shoulders, the subtle clenching of fists that he does not release. This room, this night, has stripped away the armor he built so meticulously over the years. Madeline leans slightly toward me, but I feel her tension as much as her support. Her hand brushes mine again, a fleeting gesture that carries reassurance, yet it is layered with fear. The fear that this choice I voiced, this forgiveness I granted, might not be enough to hold the cracks together. Her eyes flick to my siblings, then back to me, silently weighing the balance of unspoken grievances, the accumulation of past hurts, and the fragile bridge of understanding that now hangs between us. My siblings shift uneasily, barely perceptible movements. The whispers begin, low, cautious, almost hesitant. Each word, each tremor in their voices, carries weight. Fragments of anger, resentment, longing, and curiosity. I feel the pressure of their attention, the unspoken demand that I not falter, that I carry not just my own burden, but the collective weight of our fractured family. Why didn't anyone tell me before? A voice breaks, trembling but firm. The question is not aimed at me alone. It echoes across the room, bouncing between my father, my mother, and my siblings. Years of suppressed emotions press against the walls, rising, demanding to be acknowledged. I feel it in my chest, in my hands, in the way the room seems to tighten around me. The envelope was never just words. It is a key, unlocking decades of silence, forcing confrontation, leaving no space for avoidance. Nathaniel exhales, finally speaking, his voice measured but raw with emotion. We have all been silent too long, he admits. The admission trembles in the air, more potent than any argument, more damning than any accusation. His hands rest heavily on the table, knuckles white, as if he can physically anchor himself against the weight of the truth. Madeline moves closer, her presence grounding yet insistent. It's not just about forgiveness tonight, she murmurs. It's about recognizing what we've ignored, facing it, and deciding how we carry it forward. Her words hang between us, fragile yet undeniable, threading through the room like a pulse. I feel a tremor inside myself, the mixture of relief and tension. Relief that my choice has opened a path, tension that this path is uncertain, unstable, and delicate. The room is alive with subtle confrontations, glances, postures, small movements, murmured questions, each one carrying years of accumulation. I realize that forgiveness is not a single act. It is iterative, demanding, exhausting, yet transformative. Nathaniel's gaze finally lands on me, steady now, yet full of unspoken challenge. Asher, this act, it forces us to reconsider everything, he says quietly, voice heavy with implication. I nod, understanding. It is not enough to forgive. It is necessary to navigate the aftermath, to bear the implications, to confront what emerges from the cracks. The siblings shift again, more openly now, small admissions, tentative apologies, brief confrontations that float across the charged atmosphere. Even in this subtle dance of acknowledgement, I sense that the evening is far from resolved. Emotional tremors continue to pulse, the fragile bonds of our family stretched thin, but slowly, imperceptibly, they begin to recalibrate. The envelope sits quietly on the table, inert yet radiating consequence. Each person in this room, my father, my mother, my siblings, is tethered to it, bound by its implication. I feel the weight of what I have spoken, the responsibility of the choice, the subtle, persistent pressure of long-suppressed truths now surfacing, demanding reckoning. I am Asher Brooks. I breathe slowly, deliberately, aware that every small gesture now, the raising of a hand, the tilt of a head, the smallest shift of posture, carries meaning, carries consequence. I realize that the night will stretch on. That resolution is not immediate. That confrontation and reconciliation are iterative, painstaking, and necessary. The room holds, tense yet shifting. I see my father relax minutely, my mother's shoulders loosen slightly, my siblings' movements become less tentative. And I know, quietly, that the envelope has done more than deliver a sentence. It has begun the process of transformation. The house is no longer merely a shelter. It is a stage, each wall vibrating with tension, each shadow a silent witness to the fractures within. The envelope remains at the center of the table, inert but heavy, like a seed that has already begun to grow roots into every corner of our lives. Its words have spoken, but the consequences echo endlessly, stretching into spaces I cannot yet measure. I hear it first, A faint rustle at the edge of the property, almost imperceptible, yet impossible to ignore. My pulse quickens. The observers, whoever they are no longer distant. They are deliberate, patient, waiting for the right moment to emerge, to see, to push, to disrupt. Every small creak of the floorboards under my father's weight, every shuffle of my siblings' feet, every whisper, every breath carries amplified significance. Nathaniel moves toward the hallway, a measured step at a time, eyes flicking toward the windows, as if trying to gauge the threat without naming it. I feel his tension radiate, a low hum beneath his authority. He is used to commanding order, to controlling the narrative, yet tonight, control feels illusory. The envelope has undone the illusion. It has pulled back the veil, revealing vulnerabilities even he cannot suppress. Madeline stands close, a presence both grounding and alert. Her gaze sweeps across the room, then outward, sharp and calculating. She senses it too, the quiet intrusion, the subtle awareness beyond the walls, the way our private revelations have drawn attention we cannot ignore. Her hand brushes mine, grounding me, yet her eyes remain vigilant, scanning every shadow, every movement outside, every hint of encroachment. The siblings are restless, whispering lowly, tense fragments of conversation threading through the charged air. "Did you hear that?" One asks, voice barely above a whisper. "It's someone," another murmurs, uncertainty shaking their tone. Each word, each breath, fuels the tension, and I feel it coil around me, tightening with every second. The envelope, once simply a message of choice and reconciliation, has become a signal, an invitation to forces I cannot see but instinctively feel. Cassidy Rose remains at the edge of the room, silent, poised. Her posture is rigid yet subtle, as if she can sense what is approaching before it arrives. I sense her awareness, her calculation, and it amplifies the unease threading through the room. She does not speak, yet her presence is a constant reminder. We are observed, and observation changes everything. I approach the window again, pressing my face lightly to the cool glass. The night beyond is quiet, too quiet, and the shadows shift with an almost deliberate rhythm. I strain to catch shapes, movements, anything out of place. And then, a flicker. The silhouette of someone moving along the property line, slow, deliberate, patient. They do not call out. They do not knock. But their presence is undeniable. Nathaniel's voice breaks the silence, low and steady, yet taut with urgency. "Asher, whatever we have done tonight, however private we thought it was, it isn't anymore." His words are measured, heavy with implication. I understand immediately. The envelope has not just changed us internally, it has signaled externally. Our family's fractures, our vulnerabilities, our choices, they are now visible to forces beyond these walls. Madeline steps closer, placing her hand over Nathaniel's. "We have to be careful," she says, quietly but firmly. "Every word, every movement, every choice tonight has been observed. We can't assume privacy." Her words hang, taut and heavy, threading through the room. The weight of vigilance settles over all of us. The siblings shift uneasily, exchanging glances, whispers now layered with fear. What once was private, the envelope, the revelations, the confrontations, has become a shared stage under scrutiny. And in that scrutiny, the smallest gestures, the briefest admissions, carry power. Even a glance at the table, even a cough, could signal weakness or invite attention. I step back from the window, taking a deliberate breath. The room holds, tense, alive with subtle energy. The envelope is still at the center, silent yet commanding. And I understand the truth with stark clarity. The night is no longer ours alone. The observers, whoever they are, patient and deliberate, are drawing closer. They wait for cracks, for missteps, for moments of vulnerability. Every second stretches, every heartbeat is amplified. The tension inside mirrors the tension outside. The envelope has changed the house, our family, and now the night itself. Shadows linger longer, whispers carry further, and the air feels charged with possibility. Dangerous, relentless, unstoppable. And I, Asher Brooks, feel the weight not just of choice, not just of forgiveness, not just of family, but of eyes unseen, watching, waiting, ready to turn our private truths into public reckoning. The night is no longer quiet. It is aware. It is patient. And it is moving closer. The night presses against the windows now, heavier, deliberate, almost sentient. I can feel it seeping into the room, pressing at the walls, wrapping around every heartbeat. The envelope lies still on the table, but its presence hums with the weight of what has been revealed and what is yet to come. What began as a quiet reckoning has become a stage for forces we cannot fully see. Forces that have been waiting patiently at the edge, observing every tremor, every glance, every pause. A subtle movement in the shadows catches my attention. My pulse spikes and instinctively, I move closer to the table, my hand brushing against the envelope as though grounding myself through its weight. The observers are no longer passive. Their presence is deliberate now. Shapes shift just beyond the blinds, and the faintest rustle carries an almost audible threat. I sense the deliberate patience in their approach, calculated, unyielding, and chillingly aware. Nathaniel steps forward, the tension in his shoulders taut, measured. He does not speak yet, but his eyes follow every shadow, every twitch of movement outside. His authority is no longer absolute, yet it persists, steadying the household with a quiet insistence. The weight of tonight presses on him as it does on all of us. The envelope is not merely paper. It is the hinge upon which everything tilts, the signal that change, confrontation, and exposure have begun. Madeline moves silently to his side, hands folded, her eyes sharp, tracking the edge of the yard with the precision of someone who knows the danger of unseen scrutiny. Every breath she takes is deliberate, careful, a reminder that vigilance now governs our family's rhythm. She does not speak, but her presence is firm, deliberate, a stabilizing force in a room poised on the knife edge of tension. The siblings whisper, low, cautious, fragmented phrases that drift through the charged air. Their voices are both questions and accusations, reflections of fear and curiosity. Each word, each movement, adds another layer to the taut energy in the room. The envelope, once simply a declaration of choice, now pulses with consequence, signaling to every watcher beyond our walls that the private fractures within this house are now public currency in the shadows outside. A faint knock, soft, deliberate, reverberates against the front door. The sound is so quiet that it could be imagined, yet I know it is real. Every heartbeat in the room accelerates. The envelope on the table feels heavier in that instant, the weight of its revelation mirrored by the pressing reality at the threshold. The knock is patience and threat combined. The unseen observers are no longer watching. They are initiating. Nathaniel's jaw tightens. He steps toward the door, posture rigid, yet the subtle tremor in his hands betrays the tension coiled within. He pauses, hand hovering over the lock, measuring the balance between authority and caution. The envelope seems to pulse in response, as if attuned to the shift in energy, its presence a reminder that the smallest decision now carries amplified consequence. I feel a tremor in myself, a mixture of fear, anticipation, and clarity. The envelope is not just a message. It is a catalyst, a signal that our choices, our secrets, our vulnerabilities, are now vulnerable to external eyes and intentions. Every sound, every movement, every hushed whisper carries weight, threads pulling taut across the room. Madeline's hand rests lightly on Nathaniel's arm. Her fingers are steady, but her eyes betray the same tension I feel. "We cannot underestimate them," she murmurs, almost to herself, but loud enough to anchor the room. Everything tonight has been watched, measured, recorded. I take a deliberate breath, glancing around the room. The shadows shift again outside, deliberate, patient. The front door waits silently, a threshold not just of wood and metal, but of exposure, of confrontation, of secrets threatening to spill into the light. The envelope's weight anchors me even as my mind races. The past we have confronted, the choices we have voiced, the grudges we have set aside, all converge now at this threshold. The knock comes again, firmer, demanding attention. The observers have chosen to move. They have stepped from the shadows into action, and I know that nothing inside this house can remain contained. Every glance exchanged between my father, my mother, and my siblings carries calculation, caution, and fear. Every breath is deliberate, every heartbeat amplified. The night has shifted. The watchers are no longer patient. They are active, deliberate, and poised. I step closer to the table, fingers brushing the envelope, feeling its weight as an anchor and as a reminder. Tonight is no longer simply about forgiveness, about confrontation, or even about family secrets. Tonight is about survival, about navigating the consequences of exposure, about measuring every word, every movement, every choice under the scrutiny of eyes we cannot see. The front door remains silent for a heartbeat longer. Then a faint whisper of movement, deliberate, careful, as though the shadows themselves are pressing against the threshold, testing it, teasing the boundary between privacy and revelation. And I, standing at the center of the charged room, feel the full weight of what has begun. The envelope has unleashed forces beyond our control, and the night is no longer ours alone. The front door shudders slightly, a subtle but unmistakable sign that the watchers outside are no longer content to linger in the shadows. The air in the house has become taut, almost electric, vibrating with anticipation and fear. The envelope remains on the table, still silent, yet its weight is heavier than ever, as if it has absorbed every secret, every whispered thought, every hesitation and unresolved tension that has threaded through this house tonight. I step closer to the window, pressing my hand lightly against the glass. The night beyond is black, yet the shapes of movement are unmistakable. The watchers, patient until now, have shifted, deliberate in their approach, testing boundaries, seeking fractures, probing the edges of our resolve. Every instinct tells me that exposure is imminent, that the secrets we have wrestled with privately are about to meet the world beyond these walls. Nathaniel moves deliberately toward the door, his posture commanding, even as subtle tremors betray the tension under his authority. He pauses, hand on the lock, calculating, weighing risk against necessity. This is not merely a question of control. It is a question of survival, of preserving the fragile balance of the family while navigating forces beyond our comprehension. Madeline positions herself beside him, eyes sharp, scanning every shadow, every faint movement. Her presence steadies the room, yet I feel her tension echoing my own. A quiet understanding that what happens in the next moments will define us, shape us, perhaps even fracture us irrevocably. Every whisper, every breath, every glance in this room has prepared us for this confrontation, yet nothing could have fully prepared us for the inevitability of exposure. The knock comes again, stronger, insistent, deliberate. This is no longer testing. This is a demand, a threshold crossed. My siblings shift uneasily, murmuring lowly to each other, voices threaded with fear, anger, and a tentative acknowledgement of the stakes we now face. The envelope, heavy and central, is a symbol of all that has been unspoken, all that has been suppressed, all that is now forced into the light. I step forward, fingers brushing its surface. Its weight anchors me even as my mind races. Every choice I have made tonight, The forgiveness I voiced, the truths I revealed, the confrontations I endured, has led to this precise moment. Outside, unseen eyes wait. Inside, every heartbeat counts. I sense the convergence of forces. Internal fractures, external scrutiny, past grievances, all pressing forward simultaneously. The door handle shifts. A shadow appears at the threshold, deliberate and measured, and the house feels smaller, more vulnerable, every wall echoing with the inevitability of revelation. Nathaniel grips the handle firmly, but his jaw is tight, shoulders taut with the strain of authority challenged by circumstance. Madeline's hand rests lightly on his arm, grounding yet insistent. The watchers step fully into view, figures indistinct, but present, deliberate, patient, aware. They have moved beyond observation into action. Every secret that has lingered in this house, every suppressed memory, every tension-laden glance, all are now exposed to the possibility of confrontation, interrogation, recognition. The envelope at the center of the table, silent yet potent, hums with significance. It is both shield and signal, a tether to the past and a conduit to consequence. Voices rise, low and fragmented, questions mingling with accusations. My siblings move subtly, their gestures speaking volumes in the tense silence, revealing the depth of their apprehension and their anticipation. The house, once a container of privacy and suppression, now becomes a stage for full exposure. Every word, every glance, every subtle shift in posture carries amplified meaning, as if the walls themselves are listening, transmitting, reflecting. I take a deliberate breath, feeling the weight of the envelope, the scrutiny, the inevitability. The night stretches outward, beyond the windows, beyond the shadows, beyond the immediate tension. The watchers outside are not passive. They are active, deliberate, and attuned to every move, every revelation. The family, fragile yet tethered together, faces the precipice. The convergence of hidden truths, external observation, and the consequences of every choice made tonight. And I stand at the center, Asher Brooks, fully aware of the threshold we have reached. The envelope is silent, the night is patient, and the watchers are deliberate. Every secret, every suppressed truth, every tension-laden confrontation is now poised on the edge of exposure. And yet, amidst the fear and uncertainty, I feel the clarity of choice, the necessity of acknowledgement, the raw, undeniable power of truth brought into the open. The first words are spoken. The fragile barrier between secrecy and revelation shatters. Voices mingle, questions and confessions collide, and the tension that has coiled through this house for years begins to unravel, stretching into resolution. The envelope, still at the center, remains both witness and catalyst, a silent anchor in the storm of revelation. And in that charged, trembling moment, I realize the night has demanded truth, and truth, however uncomfortable, however threatening, has arrived. The shadows, the observers, the past grievances, all converge. The house breathes with the weight of exposure, yet amidst the chaos, there is a strange, fragile hope. That acknowledgement, confrontation, and clarity, though painful, can finally begin to untangle the threads that have bound us for so long. The night is alive. The envelope hums quietly, and the family, tense, fractured, yet tethered, faces the threshold of truth together. And I, standing at the center, feel both the gravity and the possibility of what comes next. Thanks for watching. Don't miss the next video.